You're sitting at the table, ready for lunch. Your plate is served, and you took your Parkinson's medication just 15 minutes ago. You take your first bite, unaware that this seemingly harmless food could be canceling out the entire effect of the medicine you just took. Within minutes, not hours, your tremors may return, muscle rigidity increases, and that feeling of slowness takes over your body again. What few Parkinson's patients know is that a single food, present daily on virtually every American table, may be silently sabotaging your treatment. My name is Dr. Alexander Martin, a neurologist specializing in neurodegenerative diseases for over 17 years. Today I'm going to reveal what most doctors don't have time to explain during quick appointments: how proteins can be your worst enemy when consumed at the wrong time. And no, I'm not telling you to eliminate proteins from your diet. I'm talking about when to consume them. Levodopa, the main medication used to control Parkinson's, directly competes with proteins for absorption in the intestines and entry into the brain. This isn't a theory. It's a scientifically proven fact in dozens of studies. When you eat protein-rich foods like meat, eggs, cheese, and beans along with your medication, or shortly before or after taking it, these proteins literally block the passage of the medicine to the brain where it needs to act. The result? Extended off periods where symptoms return full force, even though you've faithfully taken your medication at the correct times. In my practice, I've seen desperate patients who don't understand why their medication suddenly stopped working or why they're having such severe motor fluctuations throughout the day. Many think their disease is progressing rapidly, or that they've developed resistance to the medication, when in fact, the problem may be as simple as when they're consuming proteins. Before we continue, I'd like to know if you've noticed that your medication works better at certain times of day than others. Leave a comment below sharing your experience. This not only helps other viewers, but also allows me to create content even more tailored to your actual needs. Now, if you or someone you love is facing the daily challenges of Parkinson's and seeking reliable science-based information explained in simple terms, this channel was created especially for you. Here, we regularly share practical strategies, tips, and guidance that have helped hundreds of patients regain quality of life and independence. Click the subscribe button now. It's completely free, so you won't miss any information that could make a difference in your life or your loved one's life. Now, let's understand exactly how proteins interfere with levodopa absorption. Levodopa is a precursor to dopamine, the neurotransmitter that's deficient in Parkinson's disease. Since dopamine can't cross the blood-brain barrier, a kind of filter protecting the brain, doctors prescribe levodopa, which can make this crossing. However, levodopa and food proteins use the same transporter, both in the intestine and to cross the brain's protective barrier. It's as if there's a limited number of taxis available to transport molecules to the brain. When you consume proteins, the amino acids, protein components, compete with levodopa for these taxis. And usually the proteins win this competition, leaving your medication behind, preventing it from reaching where it needs to take effect. The most alarming aspect is how quickly this happens. In a study published in the journal Movement Disorders, patients who consumed a protein-rich meal shortly after taking levodopa experienced up to an 80% reduction in the amount of medication that reached the brain. In a matter of minutes, not hours, the therapeutic effect was drastically reduced. This means that simple steak and beans at lunch might be almost completely negating the dose of medication you just took. Before moving on to practical solutions, I want to open space for something extremely valuable: your own experience. Have you noticed that some days your medication seems to work better than others? Have you observed any relationship between your meals and the effectiveness of your treatment? Share your experience in the comments. You could simply write, "I notice my symptoms worsen after lunch," or "I never connected my meals with medication effectiveness." Your contribution may seem small to you, but it could be exactly the insight someone else needs to improve their quality of life. Now, the big question you must be asking is, should I cut proteins from my diet? Absolutely not. Proteins are essential for muscle health, immune system, and various vital body functions. Especially for people with Parkinson's who are already at risk of muscle loss, reducing protein consumption would be counterproductive. The secret lies in the strategic redistribution of proteins throughout the day. There are three main approaches I've been recommending to my patients, with extraordinary results. The first strategy is temporal separation. Take your levodopa at least 30 minutes before meals or 2 hours after. This gives enough time for the medication to be absorbed before proteins enter the system. Many of my patients report dramatic symptom improvement with just this simple adjustment. The second approach is the protein redistribution diet. This method involves consuming low-protein meals during the day, less than 10 grams per meal, and concentrating your protein intake at dinner. The logic is simple. At night, when you're less active and need less mobility, protein interference with medication becomes less problematic. You get the proteins needed for health while minimizing their impact on symptom control during the day when you need mobility most. The third strategy is for more advanced cases with severe motor fluctuations. Here, we work with a consistent protein meal plan, where each meal contains exactly the same amount of protein, evenly distributed throughout the day. This creates a predictable pattern of medication absorption, allowing more precise adjustments to doses and timing. To help you better understand, let's analyze some specific foods and their impact on levodopa absorption. The worst-case scenario is a protein-rich animal-based meal right after taking your medication. For example, a plate with 5 ounces of beef, approximately 30 grams of protein, can reduce levodopa absorption by up to 80%. This means that if you take a 100 milligrams dose of levodopa, only 20 milligrams will effectively be available to your brain. Other culprits include eggs, especially egg whites, extremely rich in protein, cheeses, particularly aged and yellow varieties, beans and other legumes. Despite being plant proteins, they still compete for absorption. Protein supplements, whey protein and similar products are absolutely devastating for levodopa absorption. Before we proceed to the next topic, I want to extend a special invitation. If you're finding this information useful, consider subscribing to the channel. It's the best way to ensure you'll receive more content like this every week, created especially for those living with Parkinson's. Our subscribers always receive updates first and have access to all our previous videos, which form a true guide to living better despite the challenges of the disease. Click the subscribe button now. It's quick, free, and can make a big difference in your daily life. Now, let me share the case of Martha, a 67-year-old patient who came to my office desperate because, according to her, the medications stopped working. She had been taking levodopa for 4 years and initially had excellent results. However, in recent months, she was experiencing severe fluctuations, with unpredictable off periods during the day, especially after meals. Analyzing her food diary, the problem became evident. Martha took her levodopa dose at 8 a.m. and immediately had coffee with milk and cheese toast, protein-rich foods. At lunch, at noon, she took another dose, and 15 minutes later, consumed a plate full of beans with meat. In the afternoon, at 4 p.m., another dose, followed by a snack with yogurt and nuts. We reorganized her routine as follows. The 8 a.m. dose was moved to 7:30 a.m. and breakfast delayed until 8:30 a.m. At lunch, she began taking her medication at 11:30 a.m. and only ate at 12:30 p.m., starting with a salad and leaving the beans and meat for the end of the meal. In the afternoon, we removed proteins from her snack, replacing them with fruits and carbohydrates, and we concentrated a good portion of proteins at dinner. The result? In just 1 week, Martha returned to the office like a transformed person. The fluctuations had drastically reduced. She was more active throughout the day, and her quality of life had significantly improved. All this without changing a single milligram of the medication she was already taking. The difference was simply the timing of protein consumption. Before presenting our next tip, I want to pause to celebrate something that rarely receives the attention it deserves: your small victories in the Parkinson's journey. Do you remember the last time you managed to accomplish something that seemed impossible? Even if it's something seemingly simple for others, like buttoning a shirt without help, walking around the block, or simply having a day with fewer tremors, these achievements need to be recognized and celebrated, as they represent your strength and persistence in the face of an immense challenge. Share your victory in the comments, no matter how small it may seem. You can copy and complete this phrase. My recent small victory was when by sharing your achievement, you're not only documenting your own progress, but also lighting a flame of hope in someone who may be at the beginning of this journey, needing to believe that small advances are possible. Your stories form a mosaic of hope that sustains our community on difficult days. Now let me share some practical tips for implementing these strategies in your daily life. I know it may seem complicated at first, but I promise that, with time, this will become second nature. 1. Use a phone alarm to remember to take your medication 30 to 60 minutes before meals. 2. Consider using an app or spreadsheet to track your symptoms in relation to medication times and meals. This can help identify patterns and make adjustments. 3. For breakfast, opt for low-protein alternatives. Fruits, breads, cereals, jams, honey, and juices are excellent options. 4. At lunch, start with vegetables and carbohydrates, leaving meat and beans for the end of the meal. This reduces immediate interference with medication. 5. Keep protein-free snacks handy for times between main meals. Fruits, cereal bars, toast, jam, and honey are great options. 6. Consider working with a nutritionist specializing in Parkinson's to create a personalized plan that meets your nutritional needs without compromising medication effectiveness. 7. Communicate openly with your neurologist about these changes, as dosage or medication schedule adjustments may be necessary to maximize benefits. A question I frequently receive is, "But doctor, what if I'm using other forms of levodopa, such as patches or infusion pumps?" Well, the good news is that these alternative administration routes generally bypass the problem of competition with proteins in the intestine, but competition at the blood-brain barrier still exists. Therefore, protein redistribution strategies are still beneficial, although less critical. Another common question is about other Parkinson's medications, such as dopamine agonists, pramipexole, ropinirole, MAOB inhibitors, selegiline, rasagiline, and others. These are generally less affected by dietary proteins, but may still have some interaction. The main focus should be on levodopa, which is the most commonly affected medication and usually the backbone of treatment. For people with Parkinson's seeking to improve the effectiveness of their medication, the main message is clear. It's not just what you eat, but when you eat in relation to your treatment. Strategic reorganization of protein consumption can be as powerful as increasing medication dosage, but without the additional side effects. While no nutritional strategy can cure Parkinson's, these approaches can significantly improve your response to treatment, reduce motor fluctuations, and restore quality of life. The magic happens in consistency and intelligent synchronization between diet and medication. You've probably noticed how difficult it is to find specific information on dealing with Parkinson's day-to-day, especially content that really understands American realities. That's why our channel exists, to be that place where you find clear answers, without complicated medical terminology and without false promises. By subscribing to the Beyond Parkinson channel, you join thousands of people who, like you, seek to live better despite Parkinson's. In addition to weekly videos with practical tips, our community in the comments shares experiences and offers support. We've been receiving touching messages from subscribers who have managed to return to activities they had abandoned, from walking in the park to playing with their grandchildren. We're not promising miracles, but rather small daily victories that, added up, transform quality of life. If this makes sense to you, click the subscribe button now. It's free and may be the first step to discovering new possibilities for your well-being. Remember, knowledge is a powerful tool, and we want to share that with you every week. Next time, we'll talk about specific strategies to reduce muscle rigidity and improve mobility. Until then,